What could you be doing right now if you had walked away from top lane the second you got that kill?
Man, I could have went.
Right
Oh
now,
wow,
40 seconds later, what could you be doing?
I could have gotten that mid creep wave right there.
Right there, man. That is
It was just
beckoning
that
your name
juicy.
right now.
That should have been mine.
Why
That
is
was
this
gift
mid lane
wrap for me.
available to you, right? Why? Because the mid laner rotated. So somebody would
Yes.
say, BSJ, well, my mid laner never rotates. What do I do now? Well, it's like you have an invoker. You can make a play around him, maybe. Like, if you just walk mid now, you got the kill top, say at 7:30, you just walked towards mid. And at that point, you're maybe checking top rune at 8 minutes. You're
Yes.
potentially doing the same thing you just did top, but for mid lane. And if Invoker leaves, this is yours. All of it's yours. But that
Pretty
all
much.
stems from the fact that if you don't push this tower, there is no reason to be here.
For me to be here.
And so all of these things that I'm mentioning as positive potentials, you check the rune, maybe you stack a camp, maybe you get this lane, they're all better than this.
Yes, naturally, yeah.
They're just
Dividing
all
experience
better.
by 3 is just. I get it, coach.
Banana slam jam.
But welcome back, everybody. We got ourselves another coaching session with Eri here. How you doing, Eri?
I'm doing good, man. I mean, so far events are slowly coming back. I'm actually hosting after this. Be heading
Very cool.
out. But yeah, things are slowly coming back. Dota wise, man, I'm feeling the mechanics. I'm feeling the movement. I think it's something you only get after just playing just playing. You just
Yeah.
gotta keep playing. So yeah, I'm feeling it more. And I got a new hero, coach. I've decided on my fourth.
Okay.
I
Who is
love
it?
Disruptor. Disruptor is
Okay.
always a hero I love. I mean, he's just for me. I think it just I just vibe with that. I just vibe with that hero really, really well. So Disruptor every now and then. But still the main three. But only mostly honestly, it's really CM and Jakiro that I always play. And I have done the homework you've given me.
Okay.
I have done it, coach. Where we
Reiterate it for everyone here and myself. Like, make
Yes,
sure we're on the
okay.
same page.
That's right. Coach gave me some homework that I obviously need to work on, which is always pull the lanes, watch out for the big camp,
Yeah.
always. That is highly important. Watch out for the big camp. Make sure it's not pulled after I pull the lane. Deny if I could. And my newest homework, which was kind of blew my mind, not really, I was just like got surprised. Really, I can do that. Is play Jakiro with off lane Mars,
Yeah.
and once Mars hits six, we I can rotate and try to get a kill.
Absolutely. Because you did that in the game we were watching, but it was like 12 or 13 minutes into the game when he was like
Yes.
level 8 or 9, right? So we were talking about,
Yes.
as a carry player, I look for reasons why I leave the lane. As a support player, it's the same thing. And a lot of times as a support, it's more so like, what are the other heroes on my team that I can enable to be powerful? So in
Yes.
that case, we used Mars as the minute this guy gets level 6, you can start to assess, it's Mars against Drow. Drow has no way to get away from Mars ulti. We can rotate and help the Mars
Yes.
get a kill, right? So
Yes.
then that'll not only help you understand rotations, but there's also, you're going to start learning core matchups because maybe you'll go for a rotation. Maybe it's like a Jug or a Lifestealer carry, and you guys
Yes.
try to kill them, and then it just doesn't work, right?
Yes.
So we talked about how that could help you as games go on learn whether or not you are supposed to rotate, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
let me make sure I'm centered on my.
I have one, coach. Honestly, I gotta say, I was proud of our movements. This game that I'm sending you.
Okay.
The first one is the Jakiro one. Hello, everyone in chat. The second one is a CM.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's check them out.
So the very first one is the Jakiro one. We kind of destroyed when we saw this matchup, coach. Just want to share like what we were thinking is they had a very strong high ground holding team. They had a Drow. So what we wanted to do was really push as fast as we could so that Drow doesn't hit her timings.
Okay.
But they had a really weird draft. They were all ranged heroes. Like they were They're all range heroes.
So
I'm
this looks
just
like a clean victory, but
It was a clean victory, but it had nothing to do with that. I did what I was supposed to, coach.
the
I
thing
know you
is,
just
though,
care
the
about
cool
the
thing
first
about
10
playing
minutes.
support is most of your impact on the game, percentage-wise, is going to be the first 10 minutes, right? So
Yes,
if
yes.
you actually stomp them, a lot of times that can be attributed to like what you're doing in the game. So that's actually I'm much happier to review stomps from a support's perspective than I am core usually.
Cool.
Okay, so let's check this out. You got a Slark. You're against what appears to be a Coddle plus Viper or Sniper? Viper.
It was a Coddle Viper.
I've now seen 2 games in a row that I've reviewed that have a Viper offlane. That is not a thing, guys, but apparently in Lower it is. Okay, so that's just interesting.
Price too. I think that was the first time I was going against a Viper. I was like, this dude. I'm like, what you doing here, man? You're supposed to be mid.
Nice harass. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
The
sir. It
lane's
was a good
pushing.
timing.
We recognize
Yes.
that, I'm sure, and we're gonna go pull.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
there,
perfect.
There we are.
Beauty. Okay.
Yes. We're pulling, coach. We're pulling.
You're checking to make
Trying to
sure
get
they're not
the
pulling
nice-
large. Your
Yes.
Slark's having a little trouble, but that's okay because he's underneath his own tower getting
Yes.
CS. Hopefully he doesn't feed.
Oh, wait. Oh. We
Oh,
connect
the
pull.
chain pull. Okay.
We connect the pull, coach.
That was hype. That was hype.
Yes. Getting that.
So the one thing
Oh.
I'll actually say about this lane, okay,
Mm.
is that as support, I think it's a really important thing for you now because you're playing it well. I like
Yes.
what you're doing. So notice what happened to your carry, okay? He got
Okay.
solo XP under tower,
Yes.
but he got harassed a lot.
He did.
So what do you think I'm getting at, maybe?
Maybe try to check on him every now and then?
No, it's actually just starting items. A lot of supports in my bracket, they start with a salve every game. Like,
Okay.
almost every game.
Okay.
So, like, if you
Okay.
think you needed these extra tangos, for instance, because you gave 2 to mid, then maybe start the game with 1 tango and a salve, and then with the bounty rune gold, fly yourself some tangos, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's like if you so far, I think your play has been perfect. If your Slark gets harassed like he does, you just walk over and salve him and resume what you're doing.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
So coming from that, just to, because Viper is a great harass hero.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Naturally. So when I see that already with Slark, who's a melee hero, obviously he's gonna get gone on a lot. So seeing that, all right. So just buy 1 tango, give 2 to my mid, and get a salve so he can proceed moving
The
forward.
thing
with
is,
what
if
he
you're
wants to
doing
do.
these pulls properly, it is going to lead to your carry naturally taking a little bit more damage. And this is what I was talking about early on, where I said once you start doing all the things right, we can start talking about issues you might face
Yes, you
because of
mentioned
these
this.
things, right?
Yes,
So now
sir.
this is an example of one of them, where now your carry is going to have way more solo XP, and they're going to have decent farm. Maybe he's going to miss CS under tower. That's nothing you can do about that. But what he is going to do that's unavoidable is he's going to take more damage because you pulled the creeps. And so that's
Yes.
where the salve comes into play, and we can always look for more examples of this where as long as you're doing the right thing, we'll talk about potential issues that happen when you do these things and things you can maybe look to be ready for. But so far, in terms of actual execution, I'm very happy with what I see.
Nice.
Lane's pushing out, you're pulling again. Okay.
Making sure.
Getting a couple denies, even better. This is great. We're going to get another pull off. In this lane, I would recognize that if I'm really in danger, I can always TP
Yes.
out.
Yes, that's true.
So just remember
I was
that.
really, I
Okay,
was
good.
really happy. This is what I did.
Oh, wow! Wow!
Yeah, coach.
Wow!
Coach, are you,
Wow.
I recognize it. I'm like, okay, this is my position. I cannot get away. They're gonna kill me. I'm gonna TP out.
Wow. That was
TP'd
that I couldn't script that, man. I couldn't script that. That was hype. I was like, you can always TP out if you get in trouble. Then suddenly you get in trouble and you TP
I'm
out.
like, I TP out, coach. I
So the
TP
cool
out.
thing about this that I want to talk to you about is that you're going to be so people are going to get slightly better over time, especially even in the midst of a single game where if you keep pulling properly, they're going to realize this guy's fucking us. He's pulling over and
Yes.
over again. Like we
Yes.
have to stop this.
This
So they're going
annoying
to be
Jakiro.
Yes, exactly, right? So they're noticing they're both level 2 and your Slark's almost level 4. Like this is the
Yes.
positive impact of what you've done so far, right?
Yes.
So what I'm now getting at is you can start to now think, what do I do if they start trying to stop me? Okay, like that's what this natural progression is going to be, right?
Coach,
Go ahead.
that is actually, I'm really glad you said that, is because there was a different matchup. I think it was CM, and I swear to God, a Tusk 4 is the most annoying matchup.
Oh,
Because,
absolutely. Any kill lanes for CM
dude,
are tough
they
to deal
just
with.
kill you, especially when you were a CM.
Yeah.
Anytime I went for the pull, they could recognize it, and they were doing exactly this team was doing, but successfully. And they were getting just that kill with me because Tusk just covers so much ground. And I'm just
Yep.
like, man, this Tusk is just
I
so hard
love
to play
picking kill
against.
lanes against CM. Anytime I have a CM on the opponent team, I always pick a off laner that can kill her. Because if I'm allowed to just get nuked over and over again, I usually always lose the lane, right? So the best way to deal with CM is to just kill her. And you'll start to learn over time. People may get better and better at that as you,
Yes.
get better at laning. So what I'm going to say here is that you need to now be mentally prepared for what could go wrong. So you are in the mindset of doing the right thing, which is great.
Yes.
That was the first step. We did get you there. I can tell in the first 3 minutes you've gotten there. So the next step is, I now know what I want to do right. What is the potential response from the opponent that I care about, right? Meaning that scares me or stops me. And the first one we mentioned last week or the week before was the pull camp, the big camp, right? That them potentially pulling the large camp was made it so that you pulling the small camp may not be good. Another one is them just coming over and stopping you, right? So
Yes.
with that in mind, that's where you're going to have to start honing your positioning. That's really all there is to it when it comes to positioning. And I'm just going to bring some things to your attention. Against heroes like
Coach.
Viper Coddle, I would be taking really wide corners. Like, I would be walking like this so that by the time I see them, it's max range of how far away they are from me. You want to avoid small corners like this where they're tight corners where you're coming across trees, because this is what happens, right? Oh, shit!
Oh, yeah, exactly.
See, if you walk like this, then you would have
I'd be
seen
able
them
to
from over
see
here
them.
and you just walk left, right?
Okay.
So this is
I
a nice
love
thing you
that.
can think about as a support, honestly, any role, but is if you're concerned about people contesting you or trying to find you, it actually applies to carries when they're farming. You can potentially take long windows to get to to get to a small camp or something as a carry. So if you're worried about dying, you would see the guy that's going to gank you. This is an example where your pathing is now not optimal. Your place on what you're doing, the pull and all that is optimal, but your pathing is not, right?
I got it, Coach.
Do you have any questions about that, or are we good here?
I have one additional question.
Okay.
Pathing is one thing, great, but also where I place my camera, would that be helpful as well? Like, should I be on the left thirds? Let's say if I move my camera a little bit forward as well, just so that I have a little bit more vision of what is possibly there.
Okay, so that's a good question. Absolutely. Camera position tells me a lot, okay? I only didn't mention this with all due respect because I'm trying to, not run before I walk here. But if you're bringing it to my attention, I'm perfectly fine to acknowledge it. So the way camera works, I'm going to give you the 9K perspective. Are you ready?
Okay.
I'm walking around this corner. I want to pull this camp. I know they have Viper, so if I run into them, it's going to cause potential issues. So I'm going to take this pathing right here, right? And since I'm taking this pathing, I know I'm taking this pathing so that I can see if Viper's coming from here or from here, such that I don't die. So if he's coming from this area, I know I'm going to immediately have to run left, okay? So what I'm doing is I want as much camera space to be on this side of me as possible so that I can see the Viper, but I also need a small wedge over here so that I can immediately click back to the left.
Okay.
Because, this is bad because I can't click back to the left, right?
You'd have to
But
drag
this
to
is
do it,
bad because I can't see what I'm wanting to see.
No, yes.
You see what I'm saying, right?
So you want to be at the first thirds.
You want it to be about right here.
That's it. Got it.
Anywhere in
about
this
that.
exactly.
That first line of thirds. There you go.
See what I'm
just
saying?
So that you have just so that you can maneuver your mouse to back just when you see it.
That is a good question. And I hope, based on my explanation, you can see why I didn't necessarily talk about it yet. But it's all about knowing what you're caring about. It's like once you know what you're caring about, your camera position tells me a lot. That's why I harp a lot on people's camera position, because like what is in your window tells me what you care about. Like it tells me what you're thinking about in the game. And if your camera doesn't show me something that I know you're supposed to be thinking about, clearly you're not thinking about it. Like I can automatically assume you're not. So okay.
I got it, coach.
So you were never thinking about running back left there. Based on your camera positioning alone, I could tell you were not thinking about running back left. Right?
No, which is why it was the TP, because I'm like, oh crap, yeah.
That was a good response, right? But we want to avoid having to do the TP if possible. So if you see people contesting you like this, I've got a question for you. This isn't going to be the case every single time.
Here we go.
However, if they're contesting you like this, what is something they might have that helps them contest you?
What is something they might... A ward.
Yeah, a ward, right?
Yes.
So in this case, you have a good ward for yourself that tells you if they're coming. But you have, if you keep getting contested in the poll, I'm telling you, the more and more likely, the more often they contest you, the more and more likely it is that they have vision over here. So like in this case, I'd usually plant a sentry like right here because it covers all of this area and then it covers all of this area. And in this particular case, they do have a ward. I think it's right here. You can see it in the like mini map of the replay. But the idea is not me saying, oh, I'm in a replay, I'm now going to make a good point out of this ward, whatever. It's the fact that if they're trying to stop you, even if they don't have a ward, it's so hard for them to ever catch you if they don't have one. So it's like, if you de-ward and you can feel safe knowing they don't have a ward, it actually affects the way you can play. You'd be like, I know they don't see me here. Right? So it's like, I feel better about it. Just something to consider there.
Sure.
Because, like I said, go ahead.
I remember something you said before. I mean, even if there's no D-ward, the fact that it's more about checking, knowing that there isn't, that's already valuable.
Yeah, that feeling of security is very very good to have as a support. Because a lot of people say, like, oh, I'm my 5 position that feeds for my carry. And it's like, well, a lot of these feeds are actually avoidable if you just don't walk through wards as a 5 position, right? So this is actually the only problem I have with this engagement is that your Slark is missing creeps. So the way I look at this is that the Viper laid down a nuke on the ground that pushes your creep wave. And I want you and your fellow carry players, if you're playing in parties, which I know you do a decent amount of, to understand that most engagements are bad unless you're not missing any creeps. Like, the creeps dictate whether or not an engagement is bad. So a lot of times that timer is based on how quickly their creeps, or how quickly your creeps are going to die. Because the minute your creeps die, right, this creep wave is just going to run underneath the tower. That's what's going to happen. See, like, we'll show you. It's just... Right?
And they're missing.
And then
the
you
creeps.
miss the creeps.
You knew this was going to happen based on what we decided to do. You're just like,
based on the Viper nuking the wave, which is going to kill the wave, and then you guys proceeding to chase him after he's nuked your wave, I can tell you every time a hero does that, you're going to miss like 3 or 4 creeps.
Which is what happened.
Which is what happens, right? So it's like, even if you get the kill on Viper, which would be worth more than those 3 or 4 creeps.
Yes.
At that point, it's like, okay, if it's worth maybe 20% more, you have to get the kill like 90% of the time or something to make it worth it to you, right? So that's just something to think about. That we said we want to go for the statistically most probable thing of working. So a lot of engagements in the lane are based on how many creeps am I going to miss, or my carry in your case. How many creeps is he going to miss in order to go for this kill? And a lot of times, supports actually bait their cores into doing things. It's not always the support's fault, by no means. It's an equal battle here. But it does have weight if you're trying to force an engagement when your carry shouldn't be going. Because most carries are either not going to follow you and you're going to like die or some shit, or they are going to follow you and they're just going to miss the 3 or 4 creeps like this Slark did. So it's equally as important for you to know this as a support player as it is for your core players to understand it.
So the core thing I got from this is my decisions should solely be based for the first 10 minutes on creep experience and how much
Absolutely.
creep experience my carry gets. And I think that's something you've been saying a lot, but I guess sometimes you organically learn things. You either learn this and that. And I'm starting to see that now that this is becoming a bit of muscle memory for me.
Yeah.
I now have space in my mind to absorb this properly.
Yeah, I can
And,
tell the pulling and the lane equilibrium management is very natural for you. I don't know why I was on Ogre's perspective there. But I can tell that these things you're doing here, the pulls, setting up for your Slark to get kills, this is all because you pulled and you kept the lane equilibrium good.
Yes, yeah, because he's like 2 levels higher now. I'm
Yeah.
just like, all right, you're all right, coach. Get ready for this.
Okay.
This is me communicating with Slark. Slark, you're level 4 now. You good over here? You're gonna see. I think I'm gonna check on Mars at this point. I tried to do a big camp pull, but yeah.
Honestly, the stack
out.
would have been fine too, just because you're winning the lane.
True.
Okay, so you see the
There you
Mars
go.
6. Oh!
Yeah. Oh, coach,
Oh!
coach,
Oh!
coach. We did it.
I don't care how perfect the execution is. I don't care if you're needed. I care that you knew. I'm saying to like everyone watching, to you and your games, the fact that you thought about it and you showed up and you guys got a kill, that is huge. Okay?
Yes,
So,
we did it, coach. We did it. We did it.
the biggest thing for me here, Eri, is that you guys got a kill. Now okay. Remember how I talked to you about now that you're doing the right things, it's all
Yes.
about things you're going to
Doing it.
deal with when you do the right things.
Yes.
So, what are the 2 things we might do after we get a kill? There's 2 options. There's only 2.
There are only 2. After
Like,
we
there's probably subsets of these 2, but for the most part, there's 2 options. What do you think they are?
Is this in general on the is this in general or
Yeah,
just
when you get a kill.
pertaining to the
Yeah, when
laning
you get a
phase?
kill. Or it's
During the laning
usually this early, like in the first 15 minutes.
If I look at oh fuck, that's a question.
The thing is, we
what
get a
do I-
kill, what are we doing after? We have 2 options.
What are we doing after? We got a kill during the laning phase. We're doing after. Well, what I always do after that is I check on the lanes. One.
That is a good thing to do, but that isn't something your hero's going to do. We're talking about things your hero is going to do right now.
Oh, my hero's going to do. Okay, wait.
Well, it could be any hero technically, but I'm saying like the camera movement and like checking for lanes is something you should do as an individual, but I'm talking about like what could be done in the game itself. Like by
What could be
heroes
done?
and shit.
Well, we have 3 heroes. At this point, I would say one thing I did that I was thinking about when I TP'd here was I should check on Slark if he's getting gone on because it's obviously 2 versus 1. That's one.
My question for you though is how is that relevant to you? You just TP'd top.
Oh yeah, I can't do anything. Well,
You can't
I
do
could
anything
tell-
about that, right?
Yes.
I'm not
I was
saying
gonna
it's not good to know that, but that
Yeah.
is something you can't do anything about.
I was gonna say since my 4 Slinky has a TP, I can tell him to, dude. By the way, Slark getting gone on. Can you kindly TP back and just take care of him?
Gotcha.
So,
by
that's
the
what I
way,
would-
in
yeah.
Dota, it would be more so Ogre, Slark, or they're going on Slark bottom, Ogre TP. Like that's
Yeah.
It has to be. There's no politeness in there. Like you don't have time for the common courtesies.
it's innate. So yeah,
I know, I can tell. I'm just like, that whole sentence, by the time you've told him politely that he
Yeah.
needs to go bottom,
Yes.
the Slark's already dead.
I would say since well, I think the first thing it's pretty early, but maybe we can push the lane a bit and maybe just get some. I don't know, since we're 3 and experience isn't really a factor. Since it's already like divided by 3 already, we can just push the lane and kind of try to get some early damage on the tower.
Okay, this is beautiful. So you just told me the source of why I'm going to tell you what I'm telling you. You
Okay.
are 3 heroes.
Yes.
If you are just splitting experience, that is garbage. So what is the
It
only
is.
reason you would ever stay in this lane?
To push the lane.
Okay, so what are our 2 choices? We push the tower or we disperse. There is no other option. Nothing else. So
Nothing else.
Oftentimes, the choice to push the tower is based purely on proximity. Meaning,
Yes.
if you kill the sniper or the Wind Ranger over here and the lane's pushed into the tower, naturally that's going to turn into a tower push.
We do that.
But you kill the Wind Ranger over here and the lane is over here.
I should get out.
You should just walk away.
Yes.
I actually just got done doing a replay analysis of like a 2.4K Jakiro player, and there were like 3 moments in the game where they got a kill, and he just sat with his team hitting creeps as 3. And I said, there are 2 options. You push the tower, or you get the fuck out. Those are the 2 choices.
But it's the creep experience that got me to think that. I'm just like, wait, creep experience is the most
right? It's the same idea as the carry role, where you're trying to stay out of lane as often as possible. So in the laning stage, the only reason you would stay is because you're strong, you're harassing, or your carry needs your help. In this case, the only reason you would stay is you're pushing the tower.
Yes, because the objective of pushing the tower is, of course, one of the most important. That's the only thing that would maybe overwrite or overlap what I'm supposed to do in regards to experience.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, I'm interrupting you because no more explanation is needed. That is exactly correct.
I get it.
And
I get it.
The big thing here is, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. It's just after you rotate to get this kill, or you go anywhere to rotate, even if it doesn't result in a kill, just immediately ask yourself, are we pushing this tower?
Are we? Yes.
If the answer is yes, you stay. If the answer is no, you leave. It's just that simple, right? And so, go ahead.
Coach, you know what I've seen that you've been trying to do? Like, obviously you've been coaching me for a while, and I'm of course absorbing what you try to do. And I think one of the key things that you try to shape with the people you coach is you're conditioning them to foresee the game.
Yeah, that is true.
You just to foresee it in a very efficient way, like matchups, all of these things. And this is coming from a noob like me, right? Like I'm just learning and for you, Dota, like correct me if I'm wrong, is being able to efficiently and correctly foresee what you're supposed to be doing and being able to execute that properly.
Like and by the time you're supposed to be doing it, since you saw it ahead of time, you're already doing it.
Yes, it's like predicting, and that's what I'm seeing now. I'm like, I know that I'm playing well, with matchups or with anything. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I think they're going to be doing. Let's do it. If I do it properly, we do this. If they try to contest what I'm supposed to be doing, then this is how I'm supposed to be reacting.
Yeah.
And you do react a lot faster when you're in that mindset.
Yeah, when you know if they come, I'm going to react, then you are much quicker to do that if they do that, right? Like if you know if they come over, I'm going to do this. Like you will do it the second you see them, right? Like you don't have to think about it at that point, right? So for you, and a lot of other people watching, the first step is to know the right things to do. You know, as carry players, I talk about general farming patterns. As a support, we're talking about your laning and pull mechanics. You've got the laning and pull mechanics down that I've seen now. So now it's about you autopiloting those things, like because you just automatically know what the right thing to do is. Based on that just being the ideal thing. Like that's what you want to do every single game. But then the beauty of Dota is as you go up the ranks and players get better and better and people even just innovate new ideas to deal with things, you have to come up with new ways to make that happen or to avoid the opponent from stopping you, or to prevent them, So that's why Dota is like a dynamic game in such a way, even though the objectives and the way to get them is almost always like a certain way. Yes. Like people can predict that you're going to do that and they're going to know they're going to try to stop you and they're going to be like, okay, last time I tried to stop him, it didn't work because the Jakiro walked to the left. So maybe the Coddle could think to walk around and loop on you this way, rather than
these little things.
That's what I'm saying, right? They're like, oh, that's what he did last time. Maybe I can stop that, and it's like if you when people ask, how do I know when to pull the creeps? How do I know when to drag the creeps as an off lane? Or how do I know when to push the lane? It's all purely based on the potential positives and negatives of doing it, noticing when things go wrong, noticing when things go right, why, and then you now make a calculated decision. So for me, the calculated decision you make after getting a kill is whether or not you're going to push the tower. I want you to make that decision every single kill. Because if you're wrong, you're going to start learning why you're wrong. You're going to start thinking about maybe the lane wasn't pushed. Maybe like we weren't strong enough to push. Maybe we used all of our ultimates and then they try to defend and we just can't fight them. Like that's another reason why you can't push the tower sometimes. And so my question for you is, you just got a kill 40 seconds ago and you've now been sitting here. What could you be doing right now if you had walked away from top lane the second you got that kill?
Man, I could have went
right now. 40 seconds later, what could you be doing?
I could have gotten that mid creep wave right there.
Right there, man. That is beckoning your name right now.
That should have been mine.
Why is this mid lane available to you, right? Why? Because the mid laner rotated. So somebody would say, BSJ, well, you know, my mid laner never rotates. What do I do now? Well, it's like you have an invoker. You can make a play around him maybe. Like, if you just walk mid now, you got the kill top, say at 7:30, you just walked towards mid. And at that point, you're maybe checking top rune at 8 minutes. You're potentially doing the same thing you just did top, but for mid lane. And if invoker leaves, this is yours. All of it's yours. But that all stems from the fact that if you don't push this tower, there is no reason to be here.
For me to be here.
And so all of these things that I'm mentioning as positive potentials, you know, you check the rune, maybe you stack a camp, maybe you get this lane, they're all better than this.
Yes, naturally, yeah.
They're just all better.
By 3 is just, I get it, coach. Like that, you pointing that, I understand.
Yeah.
It kind of hits, you know, and you can't really predict when any of your students kind of hit. Like, all right, it hit him finally.
You TP'd,
and
so that's a great start. Continue your statement. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because I do it. Yeah, but it did hit. It did hit. Like, I know what you mean. The creep experience. Now this session, for me, what hit was creep experience. That should solely be, and anything over that is only just getting objectives, which is pushing the towers.
Yes, and that's a temporary inefficiency of experience to gain it in the long run. That is why you are doing it, though. Just for everyone to know, like, kills and objectives may be temporary inefficiencies that you think will make it so after like 3 minutes later from there, you actually gain more than you would have otherwise.
I love how you coin it as temporary inefficiency.
Yeah, that is. I mean, because you'd rather hit creeps at all times, right? But sometimes there's towers and heroes in the way.
Yeah, but you call it a kill is a temporary inefficiency. I like that you coined it that way. Like, listen, you're getting but you're not supposed to do this. This is not the optimal thing to do. But I'm gonna let you be inefficient if you get it, because it enables you to do what you're supposed to be doing better.
Yeah, the funny thing is, Eri, I'd almost highly encourage you to watch my jug game. So a new series that I've been doing, it's gotten a little bit of backlash, but the overall is mainly positive. Was I got really tired of people telling me that none of my tactics work in low MMRs because everyone's bad.
I honestly love this. Is this you playing low MMR?
Yeah, so I said, okay, guys, give me a 3K count. Yet? No, I asked viewers and they give me like I've played 2 games, right? I've played 2 games. You know, and there was my jug game that I recently uploaded. There were like people in the YouTube comments that were just losing their shit because they thought I could have killed the offlane Sand King like 4 times. And all I did was I was commenting during the game. I'm like narrating my thoughts, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if you listen to it, it's me just saying, this is my farming area. If Sand King's over here, I just don't care. But the second he walked into my farming area, I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I want to farm here. That's when I kill him. It's like a temporary inefficiency because he's trying to stop me from farming. Right? I didn't use that terminology in that video, but it's the same thing. Dota. So it's
definition of temporary inefficiency.
It's just it's like funny to me because even then I was explaining exactly what I was doing. I have an 11-minute battle fury, and I still have people in the YouTube comments telling me I was supposed to kill the guy, right? So people just don't understand the purpose of kills. The only reason you're getting kills is so you can farm more. Like, that is why you're doing it, right? So it's like, if I'm already farming as much as I want to, why would I kill somebody? Why would I go out of my way to kill somebody? You know what I'm saying?
It's defense of the ancients. It's not killing of people.
Exactly. So it was such a simple lesson that I think I've finally been able to clarify with you here, since I'm talking about it from a support's perspective. And
Yes.
all I want to say is we're going to go to your next replay because this game, like, you've done your job as support. I like it.
You like it?
Yes, I do like it. If you perform this way every game, you'll win way more than half. I know that for sure. So
Coach, I've been on a bit of a streak actually.
nice.
With my wins. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
That's what I like. The thing is about support, right? You're not the win condition. You're not going to solo
No.
carry the game. But
No,
if you
no.
put your team ahead like this every game, you're going to win more than half. Like, is your team quite possibly going to throw the game? Sure. Like, can you
Yes.
always do something about that? Maybe not. But if you
Yes.
set your team up with this big of a lead at 11 minutes, or even like a small lead, you're just that much more likely to win the game. And that's how climbing MMR works, right? You're just trying to win more games than you lose. So,
And I think
go ahead.
it was also. I'm sorry, Coach.
No,
sorry
you're
to interrupt
fine.
here,
Go ahead.
but I think there's an important thing as well in terms of learning from you. There are just things that you're ready to understand. I remember these things you were telling me before, but I didn't quite it didn't quite hit me because I wasn't trying to apply them and I wasn't trying to do them. The experience of what you're telling me wasn't quite there. But now that I just keep trying to do things and just, kept trying to apply them, when you say them to me now, I get it. Like I'm like right there on the ball with you. But before I'm just like it was always just trying to, all right, so I'm supposed to be doing that. Why am I supposed to be doing that? Experience is just not something you can compete with. Like you can
there's
be
no
the best.
replacement. There is absolutely
There's no
replacement.
replacement. Yeah, you can keep like seeing it and like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, dude, speaking from doing it rather than speaking from just theory is two very different things. And coming from doing this and playing since we first started, I'm like on the ball with you, coach. I'm just like, all right, I get it, coach, because I've been doing this for like trying to do this for the past months. So yeah, I'm just saying that there are just some things that you're just ready to hear and ready to understand
Absolutely.
coming from experience.
Absolutely. And that's why, like, when I like, the cool thing about this whole thing for me is I can positively, or like I can say with utter certainty that in like the last year I've become a way better coach, and it's because it's the same idea as what you guys are doing in Dota. Is it's me going through coaching lessons and realizing certain things don't work, and realizing that the way I approached that certain student may have been wrong, or the way I tried to teach a certain concept may not have clicked with the majority of the people I was trying to coach, right? So it's kind of funny. It's just the same way I'm trying to teach you guys to learn Dota. I myself am trying to learn to be a better coach, right? So I think that these are the examples where some things I was trying to replace experience with. And nowadays, I'm actually just like, yeah, you just have to do this and like figure it out for yourself. Like I can't actually.
Honestly, coach, I can tell the difference because your tone has a certain way of acceptance now. When I say it, you're just like.
That's kind of true.
You have a certain you have accepted that people will do the wrong things, and when they're ready to learn it, they'll be ready to learn it because each and every student is different.
Yeah,
and I can hear it like,
that's funny.
There's a certain acceptance, like, yeah, I accept that this is the way it is, and this is just the way the student is. So, and I think that's a great thing. Honestly, I just want to highlight.
It's funny that you word it that way. I never thought about it like that. So, in terms of rotations here, I just want to tell you that your rotation to like clear mid wave and then walk top, that was exactly what should be happening after the kill you did with the Mars, right? So these were perfectly efficient rotations in terms of what I want from you, where you get a kill top, then you go clear mid, and then you go right back to clearing top, or like pressuring top. Because if you clear waves like that, it's just going to naturally make this sniper go mid like this. Like he's going to go defend the tower, and then you now have like favorable numbers top. And so that's the beauty of it, is you went and killed somebody, then you want to separate them again by pushing lanes properly, and then you go do it again, right? So the only issue I have is that instead of walking to mid, you TP'd, so it wastes your TP. And then maybe this whole process took a minute longer because you didn't immediately go mid. But
efficiency.
The process itself was correct, right? So that's all I actually care about. Because if I tell you that and what you're doing is correct, all you need to do is be better at it, and these are the ways to be better at it, then that's way easier than trying to get you to do the right thing in the first place, right? It's just like, okay, there's all these things you could potentially do better, and that's much easier to teach. Okay, so
sweet.
Let's move on to the CM replay. Very happy with what I saw there. I like.
Yay, we stomped it. This next replay, there was this support was definitely contesting more, and I was still trying to do what you were telling me, what I was trying to do with the Jakiro game, but obviously there was a little bit more challenges.
Is this the Tusk or is this a different support? In this
Oh
case,
no, the
it's
Tusk was. This
you're
is,
against a Grim, maybe?
I think it was a Grim or a Caudal.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't.
Either way, I was just curious because, like, if they contest you at that point, that's when you start learning matchups. When you start doing the right things and you understand the objectives that are important in the game, which is what you're clearly getting better at already, that's when you start to understand matchups. People don't understand. There's a lot of matchups that I actually don't feel comfortable explaining to, like, a 2K MMR player why it favors this hero. Because, like, for instance, in certain carry matchups, the way the two heroes like to farm the map, the way that they farm the map, like the meaning like how they kill creeps, where they kill creeps, what camps they like to farm, how they kill buildings, that's how you determine that one hero counters another. Because say one hero really likes to farm triangle and the other hero is really good at invading the triangle and killing you. But on paper, they don't do anything particularly good against each other. Like if you just look at their 4 skills, right? That's why as a support, you start to learn, okay, I'm going to be looking to pull. I'm going to be looking to rotate. I'm going to be looking to do this. And it's like, as a 5 position, I like to walk around the map as like a CM. I like to walk around warding. I like to walk in the river and check runes. So then you slowly learn like, oh, heroes like Clockwork are super annoying because if I run into them while walking around, I just die. Or like a Tusk, you know, that's an annoying matchup for me because if they find me, I die. Right? So that's how it's like, as long as you know what you're generally supposed to be doing, it becomes much easier to figure out which supports are hard to play against for you, right? Or which carries are hard to play against for you. Because the way you want to play, they're making it difficult. Like, they're being annoying, right? So
when you mentioned efficiently farming for a carry, what are their usual farming patterns? That's definitely very interesting for me because that obviously broadens me being able to foresee what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh,
but I think like these things, like what I've gotten now, that just takes time and just experience.
Yeah,
for me to
so
get
the
that.
thing is
I
that...
don't quite grasp it yet, but I know I will in the future the more I play.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to talk to you about it yet because we'll start... Notice how when you started pulling, when you started rotating, you just naturally did things wrong. And we could easily talk about it. And for you, it was easily palpable to understand what I was getting at. Because you're like, oh, I did do that, and I could have done that, and I can see why that's better. So it's like later on when we're now worried about the higher MMRs where you're worried about maybe invading farm or you know, stopping a carry from farming or accelerating your own carry to farm. That's when we can start talking about where these carries like to farm, why they like to farm there, you know, all that kind of stuff. So exactly. You have the right mindset there. Okay, so we're contesting the rune. Got an anti-mage against Tide. Nice, favorable lane here. Any hero that relies on mana, anti-mage is quite good against, Tide being one of them. Let's,
Interesting you said, okay, any hero that is reliant on mana. So there are mana-reliant heroes. Well, I'm a mana-reliant hero.
Well, yeah, but, you know, you have the anti-mage on your team.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. No, it's just something I think about because these are things like I'm like these little details or something like I try to absorb every now and then. But okay, mana. But that's I'm saving that for later.
Do you remember what I told you as CM is your #1 job in the lane? Number one for the first 2 minutes
is to deny and try to nuke the range creep. Did I do it? I didn't. I know I could have gotten that one there.
And you know how I know?
I just saw that now.
Look at your player perspective. Let's rewind. How many times do we look at that range creep?
I didn't. Not as much. Nope.
Right?
Nope. Yep.
Every single range creep to you should be thought about as a CM, right? It can matter to other supports.
I can tell that with my camera angle.
I can tell that purely based on where your camera is, right? You don't even see the range creep die. So that's like a perfect example of proof of concept.
I can't lie.
You can't lie to me. You can't tell me. I knew it was dying. You can't tell me that because you didn't see it.
Did you see? Were you even looking? Like, nope, man. Nope. I get it.
So the thing is, it can matter to other support heroes. But with heroes that just naturally nuke the range creep, you should just never miss one. That's like 50 gold down the tube. Like it's just And if the other support was good enough, it would also be denied. So it would just be like 50 gold and 25 or 30 experience, flushed down the toilet.
Yes.
So that's what we're trying to avoid. As Jakiro, much less of a thing.
Yes.
But if you're going to play, you said Disruptor, he can't really secure range creeps either. So it's more like, CMs, the Grimstrokes, the Oracles, the
shamans.
Shaman. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to go pull. Cool.
Yep. We're doing that. I missed one, but.
So this is an example where it's likely the opponent would pull the large camp because the lane was pushed into your tower. So I would have liked to see you at least gander over to see if they're doing it.
Yes. I remember making that mistake at one point as well.
They actually did pull it. They pulled 2 creeps into it. I don't know if you saw that.
They did. I actually did not, coach. Yeah. Oh, they did. Oh shit! I didn't see that.
Yeah, so that's an example where you just forgot a little bit, and that's fine. I can't expect you to do it every single time, but it needs to try to be in the back of your mind as much as possible.
But yeah, this dude was like freaking oof.
And this is fine. You're gonna learn ways that it naturally is like annoying to contest the enemy
I think
support.
this is when I started becoming conscious of it. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna check on this now because that happened. And I was wondering, why are the creeps here? Like, I remember thinking about this in the game. I'm like, I just pulled, why are the creeps here?
All the way out here, and it's because they pulled the big camp. Yep.
That's it. That's the only reason, right? That's the only reason.
Yeah, because the reason why the creep wave's supposed to be up here is because you just denied 2 creeps, but they pulled 2 creeps into the big camp, so
not unless
your pull
I have,
didn't actually do anything.
Not unless there's a carry. I have a carry that kind of kills all the lanes, kind of like that Viper last game, where he's not familiar where the creep waves are supposed to be, and he just kills everyone. That's the only reason. But AM obviously wasn't doing that, so they pulled
the farther the lane is shoved up, the less of a threat this camp is to you. If the lane's back here, it's a big threat. If the lane's up here, it barely matters, right? So
I got it. Yeah.
Just because your carry can't see them, your carry can't stop them if he's farming creeps over here, because he can't be in 2 places at once. But if they're trying to pull and the lane's right here, your carry can actually stop them himself because he's farming and the pull gets pulled right there. Okay, so next up is if your carry decides to walk over to your pull camp like this, you have 2 choices.
I didn't know how to handle this.
Yeah, that's why I'm now bringing it up, because I can tell and I don't expect you to. So it's we're walking, we see our carry walk over, and our whole point of pulling is to not share experience with our carry.
Yes.
So now I want you to rethink this as the new lane. Your lane, instead of being 4 lane creeps against 4 lane creeps, is 2 lane creeps against a jungle camp. Okay, that is the new lane, because that is your carry, right? Your carry is now laning here. So
because he's my priority.
Yes, he's your priority, right? So why would we be here at the pull camp with him?
There's no reason.
No, to help him. Like if the enemy support's contesting him, trying to stop him, harassing him, he needs our help to farm the lane.
Okay.
Otherwise, peace the fuck out. Let him have solo XP. And
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and so all you can actually do is trade with him. What I mean is, if he wants this, that's his choice. So be it. You can go over and walk over to the lane. Maybe one of these creeps is going to die.
And soak it.
And you just soak the XP. Maybe you even nuke it. Like maybe you get the last hit. Same idea as what you're doing over here. You're trying to soak some XP, maybe get a last hit or 2 from the pull. Now you're just swapping it, right? Like so just think about it as 2 separate lanes. That's how I think about it.
I'm so glad you said that, because I didn't know how to handle this. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, Am, you're supposed to be
dude.
Yeah,
the funny thing is, there's actually like 7k MMR support players that support me, and I come over to like help them with the camp, and you can just tell they have no idea how to react to that.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that. I'm like, you're here now. I'm gonna go there now. All right, man. Do you, buddy? Do you? Like, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I get it.
So I would have loved for you to save that nuke, by the way, for this big camp.
To contest that.
To just get it.
Right.
Because you pulled, and this is a camp they're going to contest, right?
Coach, I just got a moment. I just got something here. I kind of got something here, and I understand why you're saying this. Kills are inefficiencies, right?
Yeah.
I just wasted that. So that nuke was a complete waste of mana and resources.
Did your
For me,
nuke give your carry or yourself farm?
nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Then it's a bad nuke.
That
Right?
was a bad nuke.
If it's a nuke
and
that either secures a creep or pushes them away from creeps, that gives you farm.
so the third use of that skill is the third efficient use of that skill if that nuke leads to a kill, which obviously here it doesn't. And the only time I would think of using it at another hero is if they're out of position and we are in the position to kill.
Absolutely.
That's
If
maybe
it's gonna secure you a kill, by all means, don't be like BSJ told me this is inefficient.
no, but because you're giving me the principles of efficiencies for laning, I can categorize these in tiers. I'm like, of course, first tier is like naturally, make sure my creep gets experience. 2, get the deny the range creep. Or get the range creep. I get it, coach. I get it.
I'll just tell you, in a good game of Dota, meaning like a high MMR game, a CM will never get a last hit on a big creep camp kill with an auto attack. Notice how you and the Coddle just like walked over and neither of you really prioritized that creep. Like you went and got it, right? Like
No.
But if you see my bracket, okay, I'll actually, I'm actually gonna show you this. I'm actually gonna show you a quick example because I have it on the top of my head right now. I have it. I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
This is what happens when a big creep camp gets pulled, and both teams care. Okay, this is what happens.
And it just hit me too when you said that nuke. I would have loved to save you for the big camp. I'm like, wait, why is he saying? Oh, it's because it's creep experience. That's the most important. And you just nuked the Coddle. You just gave him a nice flash of light. Honestly, that's all you gave. Like
this is what should be happening, right?
Okay, let me see. Okay.
Like, notice how I'm like over here. This could be you as a support. I'm like, oh, there's a creep that's dying. He's trying to harass me, getting me away from it, and I walk over and nuke it. And like sometimes,
that's the only way you could have done it.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll see a full-on like 2v2 engagement over that big creep. Like you'll literally see the two supports nuking each other, the two cores hitting each other, and it's all for the sake of who gets that creep. In this case, it's just like a 1v1.
What I see, and I never just understood the move, the reasoning behind it. I'm just like, they're doing this, but now that you've been, explaining this and coaching this for like a good amount of months already, I'm understanding the reasons why they do it.
Yep, dude, man. We talk about objectives in Dota. In the first 5 minutes, creeps are the only objective, man. Kills, anything you do, any movement you make is to get the creeps. That's all that matters.
I love this session because it's I feel this fine tuning of my decision making. I feel it. I'm like, oh, okay, and the understanding behind that wanting to fine tune or like that fine tuning. I'm like, okay, I get it now. Why?
Yep.
It took a while, but here I am.
Hey, man, Dota is not. It's not a game that you just. It takes a lot of experience. Like you said, there's no replacement for it. So naturally, with experience, it takes time, and so time means it's gonna be slow. But okay. So if you're gonna be on full mana, I would prefer you spamming your Q, or to have both of your abilities leveled. That's kind of the two options here. Those are the two efficient ways to play it. If you level both abilities, you're more likely to get kills. If you have full mana, since you have 3.6 mana regen, I want you to think of it as you are literally wasting 3.6 mana per second.
Okay, I get that.
That's how I envision my mana usage as support. So we tried to pull and stack there, and you just forgot about the bounty runes, pretty much.
I did. What happened? Yes, I did. And I was trying to get the kill on. The reason here is I'll just try to explain my decision making here. Yes, I tried to pull the big camp. I was just trying to get it. Forgot the bounty rune. I made peace with the fact that Coddle is going for the bounties already. I was thinking he was going for the ones in his triangle.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, AM, let's try to kill Tide here, since Coddle's not here. But it obviously didn't work.
Why didn't it work? I may have mentioned why this wasn't going to work about 40 seconds ago.
May have mentioned why it wasn't going to work 40 seconds ago with Tide.
Why you weren't going to get this kill, and I told you why you weren't going to get the kill 40 seconds ago. Like in the literal live time, I said 40 seconds ago exactly what you should have done already and what you're not doing.
Oh, you said you. Oh, because I didn't. You would rather had the other skill.
Yeah, you didn't get a kill.
Both
You don't have your W.
I didn't have my W.
So there are
Oh,
two lanes to the lane as CM, right? There's two ways. Either you're spamming your Q on them, which means like you're trying to win the war of attrition, right? You're nuking them down such that eventually they'll be low health and you've worn through all their sustain. And the other way is to kill them, right? And that means you level your W and your Q and you kill them. So those are the two ways to play the lane. So it's like if I see your skill build of 201, which is a reasonable skill build sometimes, I would be expecting you to be pretty much spamming your Q on them as often as humanly possible. You know, not wasting it, but spamming it in ways that get creeps, spamming it in ways that force them off the creeps, whatever. Which in this case, you were sitting on full mana a lot of the time. Or I would expect you to be playing out of the lane like you are, pulling, and then coming over and looking for a kill, which would line up with a 1-1-1 skill build.
yes.
You see what I'm
right.
saying now? So
I
now
see.
we can start talking about, okay, you're playing the lane like you did with Jakiro. You're coming back and looking for kills. So now as heroes, you can start to identify what item builds and skill builds synergize with the way you want to play the lane.
I get it. You know what's so funny, Coach?
Yeah.
What I also got from this. Now I can see like why putting one on two on your W and one on thing, how that's an important factor. But I just also realized something that this is a very guardian perspective, by the way. For some reason, I never really accounted the fact that how do I word this properly? When you go through a clash, you can only pretty much use your skill, especially during the laning stage once, right?
Yeah.
When you go through a clash during a laning stage, you can use your Q, you can use your W practically once, and that's 280 mana, which I have enough for. I don't know why I thought about it this way, but I always thought like I just followed the guides on how to level it up. But every clash, it's basically using your W or your Q efficiently. In my case, it's a CM.
Yeah.
And you can only use it once. Every clash. Every time you go for a kill. I'm just sharing. I never thought of it that way. Like, yeah, you can.
So you'd
you
rather
spam
have
your-
two skills instead of one if you're going for clashes primarily, right? That's what you're coming
Yeah,
to the
and you can
conclusion of
only
in your
use
head?
it once. I think I was thinking the fact that I don't have enough mana to keep using these with Q and W, because I remember that being something that we were chatting about before.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking is like, I don't have enough mana to keep spamming these. But to efficiently spam it, you only need to go on a hero once. So you
Yeah.
only have to use it once. So that's basically it. I'm sorry, it's just a perspective
No,
that I
so
feel.
what I'm going to elaborate on your way of thinking to help clarify it a bit for you is when you
Yeah.
start pulling and you start playing lanes properly. We did see a couple things I didn't like in this lane, meaning like you let them pull the large camp, you didn't prioritize the range creep, but overall it's still better. It's just still a few things missing. But once we start getting those fundamentals correct, you're going to naturally play a lane a certain way. What I mean by that is in this lane, the lane you were in previously, you were naturally playing away from your anti-mage and then looking for kills. That is how anti-mage CM as a lane is going to work 90% of the time. And I'm telling you that because I understand anti-mage and I understand CM. That's like a specific matchup thing. Like you have a kill carry. He's a carry that doesn't exactly trade very well, but loves to go on people, burn all their mana, and potentially kill them. Like that's what he loves to do, right? So this is just an example where you naturally are going to settle into playing the lane correctly with the way you operate. You don't even like you'd be amazed how often I see low MMR players like the way they walk around in lane and stuff, it's actually correct. And they don't even realize why it's correct, okay?
Really?
But yeah, I'm saying for you, I guarantee you didn't think to yourself why you're doing what you're doing is correct. Like you don't know for sure why you're doing what you're doing is correct. If you knew for sure what you were doing was correct, you would have leveled your W at level 3. Like 100%. Because you would know what I'm doing is helping a kill hero avoid trading as often as possible and then take head-on engagements. When I say anti-mage is a kill hero, he just doesn't like trading and he loves going on somebody, making them run away and burning all their mana and killing them. Like he isn't always looking for kills, but he doesn't want to be consistently trading with the opponent.
But that is an anti-mage. That is the way anti-mage kit is built. Coach, I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you define a hero that is built to trade?
Usually they have skills that naturally sustain or naturally, like give them more for free. Like their skills that trade are cheap. So like Ursa has a free passive. Lifestealer has a free passive. Slark has a free passive. Anti-Mage has a passive, but once he's burned all their mana, it doesn't actually do anything for him. Other things that consider trading are natural base armor, natural HP regen, movement speed. All of these things affect whether or not a hero likes trading or not. A hero like Troll Warlord, for instance, his Whirling Axes cost very little mana, and it makes the opponent miss 60% of the time. So anytime the opponent tries to trade with him, he just uses his Whirling Axes, hits them like 4 times, and wins the trade. So they have these abilities that are very cheap and make it so if they right-click you, they benefit more than you do.
Okay.
I know that's hard. That's like a go ahead.
No. Go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, I know that's like a very general summary, but a lot of it has to do with if you were to regularly start right-clicking each other, who would benefit from that?
So basically, I'm sorry, heroes that are favored in trading. Those are trading heroes. So.
Yes. So it's ones that naturally like to hit you a lot and don't mind if you hit them back. An anti-mage, even though he likes to hit people with mana burn, the way he gets harassed out of lane is actually just getting hit a lot by the opponent. So he prefers to have like these all-out engagements where the opponent can't hit him back, and he just burns all their mana. Like that's what he prefers. And then after he burns all their mana, they can't do anything to him anymore, and he's like happy to trade after that. But if he had to lose a bunch of health himself to burn their mana, that's not actually good for him because now he's like a half-health anti-mage that now does no damage because the opponent has no mana. So it's like...
So he can just right-click you to kill you.
Yeah, so he wants to be full health after burning their mana. That's what anti-mage wants. So that's why he's not exactly a kill hero, but he's more of a full commit onto them, burn their mana, then go back to laning kind of hero. While on the other hand, a hero like Lifestealer, since his passive gives him lifesteal or like gives him sustain, he wants to just be hitting you constantly.
Hitting people. That I was actually immediately thinking about Lifestealer in terms of trading heroes once you mentioned this. I was just like, oh, so Lifestealer is one of the... Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, and that's when when I have heroes like that on me, maybe getting my W, getting 1/1/1 would be an ideal scenario.
I would say the better your heroes at trading, the more likely you would actually be to have maxing your Q. Like you'd more likely to be 2/0/1 because that's your skill that you're spamming and trading with them. You see what I'm saying? Your Q build is to trade, your QW is to kill. Do you see that? Because if you're spamming your skill, you'd like to have every skill usage be as efficient as possible. But if you're looking to kill them, you want to have as many skills available as possible because, like you said, you're usually only casting each spell one time.
Also, trading doesn't necessarily lead with the kill because because when you are built to trade, you can stay in the lane more.
Yeah, and eventually if they keep trading with you and your hero is trading favorably, they're actually just going to die to you hitting them a lot. It's not going to be some fancy kill happening, right? It's going to just be you've nuked this guy 10 times over the course of 5 minutes, your Lifestealers right-clicked him 100 times over the course of 5 minutes, and now they've run out of regen and they're dead. You see what I'm saying?
And the reason they're trading is because they're staying in lane trying to get creeps.
Yeah, they have to be. You're putting yourself in front of their objectives. Like you care about creeps, they care about creeps.
And an optimal thing for me is to be able to get that range creep because we're trying to get creep experience.
Yep. And your goal is to be employing your hero's strengths such that 5 or 10 minutes into the game, you have more experience than them, you have more gold than them, and you've spent less money on regen than them, and then they're just... at that point, you can easily kill them or apply your lead in some way.
I got it, coach. I got it.
So that rotation to bottom was fine. I saw it earlier. You were responding to the opponent being aggressive, which is perfectly acceptable. You went mid. Your Storm's going to go back mid, and you're actually rotating to your Beastmaster again. Weren't necessarily needed, but the idea behind the kill is perfectly fine. So in this case, I'm... how do I word this? It's the same thing as before. where you got the kill on Grimstroke. You guys aren't
I should
pushing
get
this
out.
tier 2, right? You're not
Yeah, we're
pushing
not
this tier 2.
pushing.
Either
Yes.
you TP somewhere or you just walk away. You could even just farm the large camp. You could literally just walk over and W this large creep.
Because that helps me.
Yeah, it gives you golden XP. You're not taking it away from your Beastmaster. It's the same thing as the laning stage, right? You're just farming a camp
Yeah.
rather than soaking XP from the lane. So you help with this kill? Great. We're not going to push this tower. Let's just back off.
I got it.
So you could just be
sometimes
over here,
I
right?
think with
Go
those
ahead.
big camps, I think like maybe I save it for my carry sometimes, or
Did that camp
sometimes I
get
think.
farmed before 12 minutes?
I guess you're right. You're right. Okay, good.
I
good
want
point.
you to
Yeah.
start taking farm like that the way I'm telling you to, and then there's going to be
Yeah.
examples where you actually just yoink your carry, and you'll start to learn times where you're not supposed to do it.
Okay.
I want you to go
All
in
right,
with the
I got
assumption
it.
your carry is not going to farm that camp, and then sometimes he is, and you can try to recognize the situations where that's happening.
Okay. So you're giving me permission to be a bit greedy. I'm like, all right, okay, you take it.
You have to understand that a lot of support players, especially like my viewers who are like similar MMR, they seem to think that farming's bad. There's like this stigma that supports are just not allowed to have gold. It's like what you guys have to understand as support players is your gold and farm comes second priority to your other heroes, right? Like they come first in terms of like who gets the farm. But
Yes.
there's so many opportunities that supports miss where they're actually taking experience from their cores because they're scared to just farm a camp that nobody else is going to farm. And it happens so much. It's actually one of the most crippling mentalities support players have. I need you to think to yourself, do any of my cores need me? Do I need to do anything to help my team? And if the answer is no, then you should be farming.
Okay.
Because as
I
a
got it.
core, it's more so like, do I need to be farming? And if the answer is yes, then I can look to help my team. That's like the order of priorities you have. But as a support, it's
Honestly-
reversed. Go ahead.
Honestly, coach, that gets me really excited because you saying this and give me permission, I'm just like, or just giving me the free way to do it. I just get my items faster now.
Yeah,
I'm just
so
like, oh, I want to get my items faster, and I'm like, oh, and because I know I'm already getting an instinct of like how long it's gonna take for me to get my items, but it was stopping me. I remember it was stopping me. Like, maybe I shouldn't hit that straight. I'm gonna save it for my core. But now that you're giving me free reign to be able to do it, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna get my items so much faster, which gets me excited. I'm like, okay.
I just got done with the Jakiro replay analysis. I told you that right before this. And there were like 4 times where I was like, dude, there's just a creep wave right there for the taken. It's right there, man. And you know what I love more than anything is creeps.
Yeah.
You know, I love gold. I love experience, man. It's right there.
Yeah.
Your tower is dying for free and you're a Jakiro. And most supports would be like, but I left that farm for my core. And I'm like, do you see your core farming this? Do you see it?
No.
Right? It's like, there's just so many opportunities that supports miss where the only reason you don't farm is because it's a detriment to your cores. You're either taking their farm or they need your help in lane or something, and you're not helping them.
Yes.
But like an example of you killing a guy with your Beastmaster, that's you helping your core. Now the opponent's respawning, and unless you're immediately needed at some other fight somewhere else, that's your opportunity to go clear a wave, to go farm a camp, to go ward, or like do something for yourself, you know? And capitalizing on those moments is so important as support. You have 13 CS at 14 minutes, right? So if you get an extra 3 CS at that big camp, you've got 25% more CS. It's like almost more important that supports understand where to farm because you don't get very much farm. So it's
No, we
like
don't.
if every little bit of farm you get is like percentage-wise that much more than
It
a
compounds,
carry.
yes.
Right?
I get you. And we become stronger as a team if my support does that.
Dude, if you have like a freaking 15-minute glimmer, man, like it makes such a difference for your course. Like you having items, every little item you buy is so good. That's what support like. I can usually tell when I'm watching a professional match which team is winning based on which support has a small item at like 12 minutes into the game. Because that means because the support's ability to farm is directly related to how much space on the map they have, which is directly related to if they're winning or not, which is directly related to the fact that they're able to get farm without taking it away from their course.
It's because they're not doing anything to help their core, maybe because they're not getting pressured as much.
Because their
And that's
cores are
why-
not getting pressured, and that is always because they are winning. So the way you can actually watch a professional match and really, like, without looking at the net worth at the top, like, so you see this 3K. If I were to, this is obviously a professional match where the supports are going to make use of this. I will be able to tell who's winning just by looking at the inventories of the 2 supports on each team. I don't have to look at anyone else in the game. I can tell you almost always who's winning based on that.
Yeah.
It's like probably 80% accurate, 90%. Like, there's going to be exceptions here and there, but that is almost always going to tell me who's winning.
That is interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Because in most games, unless it's a complete stomp, all 3 cores are going to have decent farm. So at that point, the deciding factor for which team had more space to farm is how much the supports have. Yeah.
Coach, when are you doing that Herald support?
It'll be next week, so I'll definitely link you when I.
So excited for that. I'm definitely gonna watch it, and I think it's a really good idea. I know you're getting flack, but you're doing this for educational.
I know for a fact it's for the greater benefit of the community, and so I'm gonna tell you right now, Eri, mark my words. You're gonna go to the YouTube comment section of that game. I'll tell you and everyone else right now. There is a chance I lose that game because I am a support, right? So, like, I'm giving myself about an 80 to 90% chance to win the game. So it's like
80 to 90. That's really high.
Oh, I'm putting myself in a Herald game intentionally for that game specifically because
you get 80 to 90. You're telling me you have an 80 to 90
in a Herald game? Absolutely. If I'm in like a 4K game, I'd give myself like 70% to win as support.
What?
Yeah, I'll estimate that.
Like,
but
this is why I think this is such a good idea because you're just like, let me show you.
That's the point that I'm doing. I was so tired of people telling me that supports can't solo carry the game. And here's what's going to be funny. I'm telling you right now, Eri, because of this conversation we've just had, but I already thought this, but I'm going to tell you because it's perfectly in context with our discussion. We are going to go to the YouTube comments, and people are going to say, BSJ, I didn't learn anything watching this game. You were farming all game. That's what they're going to say. And I'm going to, during the game, give all the reasons why I'm farming where I'm farming. And I'm going to say, one of my cores could be farming this. This lane needs to be pushed. This tower needs to be defended. One of my cores could be doing this. But I'm going to be in a Herald game, right? So none of my cores are going to be doing anything that they're supposed to be doing. And the more often your cores are not properly farming creep waves, not properly defending towers, that's more farm for you. Like, the worse your cores are, technically, as long as you give them a decent start, you should get more farm. So, like, my entire plan for that game is going to be, okay, I'm going to make sure my core has as good a start as I can possibly give them, and then I'm going to farm the shit out of the map. Because
they're not playing optimum.
Because they're not doing it. And that's how you win the game. It's the same fucking approach that you take as a core player. You have the objectives in the game are the same every single game, and as a support, as long as you know what those objectives are in terms of lane clearing, efficiency, all that kind of stuff, you can have just as much impact on the objectives of the game. You're just not going to end the game for your team. Like, you're not going to be the guy that's going high ground and winning the game, right? So that's where my percentage of uncertainty comes as a support, because I can't do that part.
Yeah, because
I can't actually end the game. I do need my cores to be somewhat competent in comparison to the opponent cores, right? It's like if my carry just decides to literally buy Dagon or just dive into their fountain 3 times, I can't control that.
You can't control that. That's not none of your. But you can carry as a CM.
I'm going to be picking Jakiro next week, but my goal, what I'm going to be doing is CM will be my second. The reason why I'm picking Jakiro first is I want to emphasize the importance of supports being able to pressure towers. So
being able to pressure.
Yeah, for you, Jakiro and Shaman fit that well.
For sure, yes.
CM's still great because she scales well with farm. She has natural wave clear. She just doesn't in the game really. But so the thing is that what my plan for the series is, it's just been really well received on YouTube, is that I'm just going to rotate between the roles and I'm going to do a different hero every week. So it's just going to be like...
I love this idea.
Yeah.
I understand. I know, but I can't... I understand why some people might look at it maybe a little bit like, oh, that's Smurfy. But no, but it's for educational purposes.
I did it one game out of anger towards my chat, and everyone loved it so much that here I am.
No, I think, no, because trust me, Coach, I love it because I'm just like saying, oh my God, this is going to teach me so many things because you're showing what you've been trying to teach. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Coach, I have a question before I know we're heading into that time. But if you were to carry the game as a Jakiro and as a CM as a 5 in Herald bracket, what do you think your finishing items would be?
Okay. So I already made a video on this, but I can give you
Yeah.
the TLDR. So the way you
Yes.
envision Dota is to solo carry the game to your best capabilities. You first need to be able to clear waves fast enough for it to matter. So if you're
Okay.
a carry with no wave clear, you buy Battle Fury, Maelstrom, whatever. If you're a support with nukes, that's taken care of. The second step
Okay.
is to do it survivably. So you need to be able to
listen.
not die while you're clearing those waves.
When you're pushing the lanes.
Yes.
I've watched this. Yes, I understand
So,
this.
For the first one, for a support, you may need to buy some mana items, right? So like even though you have nukes to clear the waves, you may need items that allow you to continuously nuke the waves. So
Mana
first, clear waves fast enough. Second, survive. Third, represents some sort of kill threat on people.
Okay.
So say the enemy carry or an enemy support is trying to stop me from pushing a tower, I would want to be able to kill them, or
be a
at
kill
least
threat.
try to be able to kill them, or at least make it so if they try to defend, they're going to be shoved away by me. Maybe that's going to be more likely as a support, because as a Jug, I buy an Abyssal Blade, I kill people. As a Jakiro, maybe I can't solo kill that guy, but if I yules him up in the air, stun him, macro pyre him, and have like, an Ags or something, maybe he's taking so much damage, he's forced to back off, and I get the tower anyways. That's an example where, as a support, maybe I could do more in terms of just forcing the tower than I could to actually kill the guy. But I look to kill the guy, and then last step is I look for something that helps me go high ground. So if I'm a support, it's not as straightforward, right?
Yeah,
but if I'm Jakiro, it's nice. So maybe I look to just buy, honestly, like any item that makes it so I can hit the high ground without dying at that point. It's more
What would that be?
survivability. And in any game, like we talked about, it could be a Blink Dagger. It could literally be a BKB. It could be a Lincoln Sphere. It could be a Shadow Blade. It could be literally anything that if I'm scared of them going on me, I just want to make it harder to kill me. Like that's because Jakiro will naturally hit buildings, right? But on like a support like CM, I may need to buy like an AC or some crazy item that allows me to actually hit buildings.
An AC? I'm sorry.
Yeah, like an Assault Cuirass.
Oh, for armor. Okay,
Yeah,
I get
I'm
it.
saying because it's armor, it's minus armor on towers, and it gives armor to my creep wave. So AC is one of
And
like the
I'm
more pushing. Go ahead.
You're gonna get the plus 200 attack speed.
Yeah,
with
on CM on if I'm in a Herald game, I will 90%, 99% take attack speed on CM. I could potentially on CM, I will go normal items for the first like 3 or 4 items, and then I might just go fucking Hurricane Pike MKB on my next like on my 5th, 6th item to win the game.
That is so interesting, Coach.
Right.
But I know that comes advance. But
Yeah.
what you just shared me is like I think a few steps ahead. But
Yeah.
it's just nice to know that when I'm ready to kind of see it, then I think I'll be ready. But
Yeah, you'll see it by example. I think that's the best way to show this.
Yeah,
But it's-
yeah. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited myself, but I promised I'd only do 1 game a week. I also think it's good for like the spacing out of content to do about 1 game a week. So that's my plan. So
I love it. I love
next
it.
week is my Herald. I'm my Herald 5 position game. I'm gonna eventually do a support game that's not Herald, but I think the first one specifically should be in Herald to show you that as a support you can actually win the game for your team. So
I'm like, all right. I can't
you're
wait to
envisioning
watch.
it. I can tell. You're like, what would
I'm
I
like,
do if
what
it
is
was my
this
job to
do?
carry the game? You're playing with friends and you're trying to enable them, but my point is the best way to enable a Dota team in general is to take care of efficiency, take care of wave clearing, take care of objective threat. That's all that it takes to win a game over a team, is doing those things better than the opponent. So if I'm a support and my cores aren't going to do it for me, that's what I got to do. In my bracket, I have to expect my cores to do it for me. So I have to enable them to do it. Like that is my job as a support. But in your bracket, if your cores aren't going to do it, the way to enable them to do it is for you to do it.
It's for me to do it.
Yeah.
That's it at that level. Because the cores would do it at the high level, but in my level, it's like you gotta do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, as long as we know what matters, that's all we got to play around, right? So
I got you, Coach. Coach, can you say that last part again? Take care of efficiency. Take care of wave clear.
wave clear speed, wave clear survivability while you're doing it, some sort of kill threat or like the ability to bully them away from you, like to scare them away from you.
I'm sorry, Coach. Let me clear it up. You said the only things you need to take care of for your cores at that low level is to take care of efficiency, take care of wave clear.
And
You basically
objective
the things
threat.
you're Objective threat. Objective threat. Objective threat.
So, like, if I'm pushing bottom, I need the enemy to care about that. Like, I need to actually be able to kill the building such that if they ignore me, their building dies. Do you know what I'm saying? Because, like, if they don't, if their buildings are not dying to you, then you're effectively making your team play 4v5. So, like, at that point, like, if they're ignoring me and I'm just killing their tier 3, I'm not making my team play 4v5 because they're losing a tier 3. Right? So it's like at that point they're just ignoring a tier 3 dying. So
low level. Oh man, I got this. I'm so excited for that content.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, I think.
This was a good one, Coach.
Yeah.
I think this one I kind of got. The things I got from this was understanding matchups and how you should skill build with them. How I'm supposed to position my line when I'm faced with matchups that can potentially kill me and go on me.
Yeah.
So I think the camera position and the lines I take. Camera position.
And as long as you're self-correcting, that's only going to come with experience, right? Because you're going to be like, oh, I should have pathed around the corner differently. Or, oh, I should have been paying attention to that range creep dying. You know, that's where you're going to catch yourself. And that's the best way to get that.
That's the best way to learn. Camera position and lines. And I take when moving, building, understanding matchups. Wait, let me write that. Understanding matchups. I'm rotating and I'm understanding the rotation aspect of it. Is there anything you want me to work on for the next 2 weeks, Coach, specifically?
It's definitely every time you get a kill to make sure you're either taking that tower or walking away. That's like a really big one. That's a really good habit to get into because you're gonna just run into all these scenarios where like BSJ, or Coach B, I walked away from my hero and I had all these options and I didn't know what to do. Was I supposed to TP top? Was I supposed to just farm? Was I supposed to ward? And I'll be like, okay, we can talk about this in this specific instance, why you should do whatever. I will tell you that core players in my bracket who are forced to support, I'm talking like rank 300 immortals, we will get a kill and they will just sit with me farming the creep wave. It is unbelievable because I could teach that to anyone, that if you get a kill and we're not pushing the tower, that you just leave. I could teach that to literally anyone, and people in my bracket still don't do it.
They still don't do it?
I'm saying rank 3, 400 core players who are forced to support don't understand that concept.
Wow.
It is crazy to me. It is mind-boggling. I actually lose my shit, and my viewers just say, just tell them what to do, Bryant. And I'm like,
yeah.
Are you serious? I have to tell the guy to not hit the creep wave with me? Like, I have to tell that to the guy? Like, fuck. I could teach that to literally anybody. I could teach that to somebody that's new to the game. You get a kill, walk away, or push the tower. That's the two choices.
Leave if you're not pushing the tower.
And just ask yourself, if you think you're supposed to push the tower, then stay. And if it ends up not working, so be it. You don't need to be right every time. I just need you to consciously make that decision.
It's only those two decisions.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see the progression, Coach.
Yeah.
I can feel the progression. Oh, you're teaching me all these new things. Okay. All right, Coach, this is great, man.
Awesome.
This is great.
Look forward to hearing back your progress. I saw a lot in the laning stage, so all we got to do is get even better at those things. And then I see the natural problems you're running into because you are doing the right things, the rotations, the pulls. And so we just got to see how you're going to start, securing your own game. You're doing the things you want to do for your game, but now people are trying to stop you or you're running into some efficiencies. And we're going to see how you can maximize those. So
nice. Coach B, thank you so much, man.
No
thank
problem.
you so much. I'll see you in 2 weeks, and I'm so excited for that 5 Herald game. That's so fun.
Always a pleasure working with you, buddy.
All right, buddy. Take care, man. Have a good one. Bye.